Hi there, this is Luke.
And I'm Elijah. And we are the Eagles of Steel. So today we are going to do our official all 32 team power rankings after the draft.
So let's get right into it, and we'll start with our number 32. And I have the New England Patriots. From last year, they had a 4-13 record, but it was an okay draft, but they didn't do much in free agency either. That's why I don't have them. That's why I have them at very low.
Yeah, that is pretty understandable. But I do respect their pick for Drake May though. Like I think he's gonna be a great QB for them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he doesn't become the new Tom Brady. I'll be really sad. But so my number 32 is the Carolina Panthers.
Man, what a shocker.
And they were 2-15 last year. Their off season, like with free agency and draft, was actually not bad. But I don't know. It could have been better. So I still have them as probably going to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team of next year. My number 31 is the Denver Broncos. They just had an awful offseason, man. Like they lost pretty much all their good players that they had, and they didn't really gain anything back. Like their draft was like fine, but it wasn't like that great. They got Bo Nix from draft. I don't know if he's going to be good.
Number 31,
Yeah.
I have your number 32, the Carolina Panthers. And a 2-15 record, and yeah, as you said, it was an for them. They lost a lot, and they didn't gain much back. It's similar to what you're saying. Like, I have them, that's why they're number 31.
Yeah.
Number 30, I have down here the Arizona Cardinals at 4-13 record last year. Yes, they had a decent draft and free agency, but the record showed last year, obviously, they were 4-13, but they did get wide receivers in the draft. But these were only rookies here. But we don't know what they're going to do next year.
Yeah, like I know for the Cardinals, like they're getting Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first round, and also they got like that one edge rusher. I forget his name. That was a good first round for them, and then I think they killed the draft. Like Cardinals did really solid in the draft. My number 30 is the New England Patriots. I have like. We already set the record. They were 4-13. And actually, speaking of records, my 31 being Denver, they were 8-9. But I had them like as one of the worst teams next year because of all the losses. But yeah, Patriots, they're 4-13. And do I think they're going to upgrade that much? Maybe an extra win or two. Like that's about it, really. Like either 6-11 or 5-12, maybe.
Not much.
It's a rookie QB, so I'm not expecting too much. And plus, he doesn't have any receivers to throw to, so he's kind of as doomed as Carolina's quarterback was, Bryce Young. So,
Wow! Ouch.
yeah. 29 for me. The New York Giants.
Ah, yes, the Giants.
Yes. I saw you guys. I saw you Giants not drafting an offensive line. Gonna get your quarterback killed probably in that backfield. Yeah, that's just not gonna cut it, dude. I understand you guys got Malik Nabers. He's a good receiver, but dang, yet Lyon's gonna kill Jones again probably. Get ready for another 50-sack season.
Anyways, for my number 29, I have the Denver Broncos. We already said they were 8-9, and yes, we know they lost a lot, and yes, you're right, they didn't gain much back. And, well, you basically said it out of the words out of my mouth. They really didn't, I don't think they're going to improve much at all.
What would be your 28 then? Because, like, so far, like, you've kind of been all over the place. I'm kind of curious to see where your next one goes.
I have the Tennessee Titans
Ooh,
at
okay.
6-11. Now, this is an interesting one, but here's the thing, though. They in the free agency, they lost their best running back they've had. The King himself. In the draft, what did they even do in the draft? They didn't really.
They drafted some linemen. I think they got a running back.
Remember, these are all going to be rookies, though. They aren't going to be stars. We don't know what they're going to do, but remember, they had a decent record. They had a 6-11 record last year, so it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
Thing is, the Titans don't have a quarterback, and like they have a decent team. They just don't have a quarterback. Like because remember they got guys like L'Jarius Sneed from Kansas City now on that defense, and they picked up some good defense. So at least that'll be okay. But
quarterback's usually one of the most important positions.
Yeah. My number 28 is the Arizona Cardinals. And for them, it's, like I said earlier, I love the pick that they had with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think with Kyler Murray throwing, if he's still throwing the ball, I think you have a good season with him. Because if you think back when he had Hopkins, when he had, he popped off. Like, they went 11-6, got the 5 seed. Unfortunately, they kind of choked at the end, kind of like how the Miami Dolphins did last year. But besides that point, I think the Cardinals are going to be a major improvement from 4-13 for sure. I think they're going to go at least 6-11, not 7-10. Like, I think they're still in a hard division, so they're not going to go like crazy good. But like, I think they're going to be much better.
Much better, but not a division winner.
Yeah, that's for sure. Still a 0% chance for them making the playoffs, though. 27 for me is actually Tennessee. And like we were saying, like they had a 6-11 record. They got Tony Pollard, running back now, after they got rid of the king, Derrick Henry, who went to the Ravens. They also got L'Jarius Sneed from Kansas City. They got there's some other guys they got. Draft was actually pretty solid. They got a couple linemen to help protect whoever the quarterback's going to be. All in all, like Tennessee did pretty good. I don't think they're going to change too much in record just because they got Houston in their division. And also the other two teams upgraded a lot too. So it's like, I don't know. They're probably not going to change too much.
Okay, so after that, what do you got for your 27?
That was my 27, dude.
And what do you want to have for your 26, actually?
Well, I want to hear your 27 first.
Oh, my 27? Oh, I have the New York Giants.
Yeah. You just want to skip them because they were just that bad, huh?
No, I don't want to skip them. Anyways, I have the New York Giants at 27. Again, same record as the Titans. They have a 6-11 record last year. But they were pretty ballsy going with no offensive line. Like, you saw how they did last year with barely any offensive linemen. They went ballsy. They didn't get any at all, which is kind of surprising to me, but I think probably their record's going to be around the same, maybe one win better. Maybe like a 7-10.
Yeah. I know for, I forgot to say something back on my 29 for them. So for the Giants, I actually give them a lot of props for taking that risk of not getting one and going for like all the other bigger players. Not a lot of teams did that. A lot of teams kind of played it safe and got linemen, all stuff like that, including my team. But they went risky. And I guess we're going to find out if it paid off or not. It'll be fun to see if it happens. But
I'll find out when you hit the regular season.
Yep.
Anyways, for my number 26, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 26. And they had a 9-8 record last year, but the problem was they choked the very end of the season. But I don't know what their draft was like because I wasn't focused on Jacksonville most of the time. I was more focused on my team most of the time, what they were getting. But they had a decent free agency, I'm pretty sure. But they didn't. I honestly think they didn't do much. But last year the record did show that they had a decent team. But I think they got some decent players.
Yeah. Well, for Jacksonville, in the free agency they got Gabe Davis from Buffalo.
That's what I said.
So that was a good one. But they lost Calvin Ridley to actually the Tennessee Titans. Thinking about it now, so I don't know. It was kind of interesting with them. My number 26 is the Los Angeles Chargers. I know they're still low. I think they're definitely gonna be way better than 5-12. That's for sure. Especially with their new coach being Jim Harbaugh and not Brandon Horrible Staley. So
yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Chargers fans, I'm hoping you guys are happy with what's going on with your team. I know you lost a lot of good players, and that's why I have you guys still low. Because you lost like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. You lost all those really good players. But you have a new coach. You got actually a pretty good draft. I think it's gonna be interesting to see you guys next season. I'm hoping Herbert just pops off with a new offensive mind, and that the defense plays better, and that you guys will be competitive, especially since we want the Chiefs to lose. So we'll see what happens. My number 25 is the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, explain to me here why you have them at the position they are.
Yes, so for them, I had them much lower. I think their draft was fine. They didn't really do anything in free agency, and they finished last year with a 9-8 record. I don't really see them doing much better than that. If, to be honest, I have them going worse. Okay. Maybe I think they might go 8-9 or maybe 7-10. Like, I really don't. I just see them downgrading because I didn't really see much good pieces for them.
For me, I have what your number 26 was, the Los Angeles Chargers. And yeah, similar reasons. They had they had really good draft, but they didn't have the greatest free agency because they lost a lot.
Yeah.
But they will be definitely better than 5-12, I agree. I think they'll probably have maybe a 7-10.
Yep.
And for me, my number 24 is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh.
So I know, I'll explain this to you. Yes, they had 8-9 record last year. They had a great free agency. They had a decent draft, but I don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders because they're in that super hard division with the Chargers and the Chiefs. So I don't know what's going to happen, but yes, the Raiders do like to play spoilers a lot. But I think I do see them being like a 9-8 or 10-7, honestly.
It's kind of low for a team like that, but all right. My number 24 is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who ended their season with 9-8 record, and I don't have them going much past that. I used to have a lot of intrigue in Trevor Lawrence and that Jaguars team, especially after they made it last season, the prior season with a 9-8 record, and then beat the Chargers in the first round, and then held their own for the most part against the Chiefs in the divisional round of that year. But, of course, they fell apart, and to be honest, I think they're going to be about either the same record or worse. That's how I have them. Now, this one is going to shock maybe a lot of you. If you're Steelers fan, it's probably not going to shock you that much, but if you are anybody else, it's going to be like, what? So my number 23 is the Cleveland Browns.
This is a shocker.
So last year, they ended the season with 11-6 record, and they were the 5 seed in the AFC. I have them completely falling apart in this next season.
Okay.
Because, for one, Deshaun Watson's a bust, and I think the Browns even know this. They paid him way too much for him to barely play at all. And you guys know by now that after you have a really good season, you guys go 5-12 or 6-11 or something. Just you guys completely fall apart after having one good season. I know you, Browns. I know you. I've watched you a lot. Believe me, I have. So, yes, I don't have Browns doing anything better than 11-6.
Okay.
They're going to get much worse, I think.
So, for me, my number 23, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Now, last year, they had a decent season. They did have a winning record of 9-8. They had a decent draft, but they got a rookie quarterback, I'm pretty sure they got in the draft. But we don't know what's going to happen because they could go either way. They had a decent free agency. They had a decent draft. But I don't know if it's going to change their record at all this year. I think it's probably around the same. Maybe 8-9 or 9-8. Maybe lose one more game than usual they had last year.
Yeah. So, what's your 22?
I have the New Orleans Saints.
Oh.
Who also ended 9-8. And similar reasons. They had a decent draft. They didn't have a great free agency because they lost a decent amount. But they also were 9-8 last year, and I'm pretty sure they're probably around the same record for more like an 8-9. Probably gonna lose one.
Yeah, probably. So my number 22 is the Indianapolis Colts. So we kind of have them in a similar area. So for the Colts, like you said, they're 9-8 record. They had a pretty good draft actually. Their first round pick I think was that Laiatu Latu, the edge rusher, and he was one of the best edge rushers of the draft. So I think their defense is going to be much better. Now their offense kind of downgraded, but they do have Anthony Richardson coming back healthy. And he only played for 3 games last season, so they could easily jump up depending on how good Anthony Richardson plays. I am excited for them. I just don't know what to think of them yet. That's why I have them on the lower end. So 21, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow.
They were the 4th seed.
Wow, so low. Do you want me to give an explanation, sir?
Yes, I'm going to explain it. So, for Tampa Bay, they were 9-8 last year. And to be honest, they're probably going to have the same record. But how I see them, is they were not really even a good team last year. Like I know they beat you guys in the wild card round, but that was because you guys were choking at that point. So you guys were easy pickings for them. So, and then they faced reality when they faced Detroit. So, they somehow kept it close to that game. That one I was shocked about. But anyway, so for Tampa Bay, I just don't see them changing that much. They got Mike Evans back. They had a decent draft.
I think he drafted a bunch of offensive linemen.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So if Baker Mayfield can actually continue to play good, I think they can be better than what I have them at. But from what I've seen, I don't have them going much higher than this.
For me, my number 21, which you named off, I have the Seattle Seahawks.
I have not named those yet.
Anyways, I have that. They had a 9-8 record last year, similar to what some of these teams were. But here's the thing: why their draft was good, but they didn't really do much in free agency. I'm pretty sure. I didn't hear them at all much getting big names.
Not really, no.
That's why they're lower. But I could see them being around the same what they had in 9-8. Honestly, and my number 20. This is a team that is in my division as well. The Washington Commanders. Yes, I will explain why they're number 20. They're in a hard division. I'll give you that. Yes. Other than the Giants, Dallas and Philly are good teams. There are no pushdowns. But yes, the Commanders did have a great free agency. They got a lot of really good players on defense and offense. But the draft was okay. But like I said, hard division.
Okay? The draft is only okay?
Okay, I'll say that again. The draft was good, but here's the problem. Like I said before, they're facing Philly and Dallas, so it's gonna be tough for them. And I don't know.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
That's why I have them be on the outskirts of a playoff team. I have them going probably 8-9 or 9-8, something like that.
All right. So here's the start of my top 20. So for number 20, it's the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
They had a finishing record of 7-10 last year, and they just had the opposite of luck in the prior year. So the prior year they went 13-4, but all those wins pretty much were all 1-point games or 1-possession games. This next year they lost 10 games. All 10 of their games were losses by 1 possession.
That's unfortunate.
So they lost opposite way. But now here's the thing. Sure, they don't have Kirk Cousins anymore, but they got a new rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. This guy's set up for success because this guy has Justin Jefferson to throw to. He's gonna be fine. And I think that the Vikings are definitely going to improve from 7-10. I think they're going to possibly be a playoff team. I'm not quite sure. What's your Super Bowl chance? 0. But it's gonna be interesting to see how much they improve, and I'm really hoping they do. So. Next up, my number 19 is the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
I know in their draft they picked up it was a really good safety, I believe. I forget his name exactly. Seahawks fans probably hate me right now for forgetting, but I remember he's gonna be probably a really good player. That's
just one player though.
Oh, I know. But and plus the team themselves, they were never really a bad team because they had guys like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett on that offense. Kenneth Walker is a really good running back. They got a lot of stuff from Denver, and that ends up working out in their favor more than Denver's. So yeah, it's gonna be very fun to see how the Seattle Seahawks do next year.
For my number 19, I have the Minnesota Vikings.
Look at that.
And yes, they had a 7-10 record last year, but like I said, 1-possession game wins. So they're a decent team. They got a lot. They got a bunch of players in free agency, but they also lost a lot too. Their draft was pretty good. They got a bunch of really good draft picks. I had them going, potentially playoff team. Potentially playoff team a 9-8 or 10-7. I have them majorly improving. Now, this number 18, the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago Bears 7-10 last year, and they majorly improved both offensively and defensively. They got a lot in free agency, and they did decent in the draft. But remember Caleb Williams as well. That's why they're a little bit lower. Plus, they have the NFC North, and that's the division they're in. Correct?
Yes, they got guys with the Packers, the Bears, and the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings to worry about.
They have a hard division as well, so that's why I have them only at number 19. Maybe just missing the playoffs. Similar record, maybe 7-10 or 8-9.
Wait, you mean 18, right? Like the Bears are the 18th team.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the 18th. Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that wrong, man. Come on, get with the time.
Anyways,
so my number 18 is the Atlanta Falcons. So they sucked the draft, big time, but had a very good offseason when it comes down to their free agency. Because they picked up Kirk Cousins, they got a lot of receivers, they got a lot picked up some good defensive players. They just failed their draft because they decided to draft Michael Penix Jr. instead of a guy like Dallas Turner or Laiatu Latu or somebody they could have actually used. So they failed in that regard. But yeah, I think if Falcons fans know it by now that all of them are disappointed. So I don't need to keep rubbing it in. So yeah, last year they ended with a 7-10 record. I think they're going to go 10-7, and actually they're going to win their division still. I think they're going to win over Tampa Bay.
Wow, okay.
That's a bold prediction right now. But obviously I could be wrong because the Falcons are known to choke. I'm really hoping it doesn't happen for them because I really want them to have that chance. But we'll see what happens. My number 17 is the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
So, like I said in the last video, I think Caleb Williams is a bust. So that's why I don't really have him going much better than probably like a 9-8 or 10-7 record. Because I think the team around him is good enough to where it's probably going to be able to get him there.
Because remember, they had a good free agency, though, too.
Yeah, because they got Rome Odunze at wide receiver. They got a couple good defense. I think they got one defensive player, and they got a punter.
They also got a good running back, too.
Yeah. So their team is solid. They had a really good free agency, too. So all in all, their team is solid. It all matters down to, is Caleb Williams going to be a bust or is he going to be a success?
It all comes down to the quarterback.
It all comes down to the quarterback here. And I don't know. This could easily vary. So we'll see what happens. How about you?
For me, well, it's number 17 for you. Was that your number 17, Chicago?
Yeah, that was number 17. Man.
Okay. For my number 17, this is maybe a shocker to you. It's your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not that much shocked.
Well, yeah, honestly, here's for Elijah's sake, because you saw the shorts that he posted on draft night. Then he completely lost his mind because they drafted an offensive lineman in the first round. They did a bust in the draft, but they had a decent free agency though. You guys did, but yeah. I also have you guys same record, 10-7. This coming year, I have you guys around 10-7.
Yeah, I probably see that.
Also, now for my number 16, I have the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, that's a high one.
Well, it's not too high because I don't see the Falcons probably making the playoffs this year. Yes, they had a bust in the draft, but their free agency was amazing. They didn't need to do much on defense because their defense was good last year.
It was, yeah.
But their offense struggled, and they made sure to fix that.
Okay.
That's why they're 16, and that's why I have them around maybe 8-9.
Yeah, that makes sense. So next up. So my number 16 is the Washington Commanders. So last year they had the second worst record with a 4-13. I have them not only going from a 4-13 to like a 10-7. I have them actually have them making the postseason next year. In my early predictions right now.
You think a division winner, or you think just wild card?
Just wild card. But they have them still making it. Here's why. I was hoping that Jaden Daniels would have been picked by Chicago, but since he wasn't, he's on the Commanders. And the Commanders, they got one good leg. They did draft a lineman, so they got to upgrade their line a little bit. But also they have a solid receiving core. They got a solid running back core with Eckler and Brian Robinson.
Okay, that is pretty solid.
I'm like, dude, that's like one of the best duo running back sets you can get. The Commanders are a very solid team. Now it all depends on coaching and if Jaden Daniels can play at the level he was in college. If he's able to do that, I'm super excited for the Commanders.
What do you think their hopes of Super Bowl chances, actually?
For Super Bowl chances, I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl, but I do think they're going to make it interesting. I have them as a 0%, but I don't think they're going to make it. But it's going to be fun. Number 15, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Who ended their season with 11-6 record, and they choked the ending of their season, ended up losing the division, and then lost to the Chiefs in a blowout. And in like the coldest game one of the coldest games in NFL history. We all know how that went. Here's the thing. I would have Miami higher if the month of December, January didn't exist.
Because that's when they usually fall apart.
Because they fall apart every time. So, and I think every single Miami Dolphin fan knows that's when they choke. So, there's not much explanation there. What's their chance of getting to the Super Bowl? 0.
Okay. So, my number 15, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh, that's high.
What do you mean it's high?
Hey, I had mine at 21.
So, like I said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 98 record last year, like a very close division, but they won the playoffs they won their division in a tiebreaker. That's obvious. And like I said, good free agency. It was decent. They had a great draft. I'm actually thinking their offensive line build up in the draft could be helpful to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close tiebreaker in that NFC South division. It's going to be very close between the Falcons and the Buccaneers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And once again, probably end up being a tiebreaker win. Again, my number 14 is the Dallas Cowboys. And 12-5 last year they had as their record. But we all know how Dallas did in both free agency and draft night. They sucked in both. But here's the thing, though. It's Dallas. They're going to probably always make it interesting, especially in the NFC East. And I think they're at the same record.
All right. So my number 14 is my Pittsburgh Steelers. And I actually have them going one win better. I actually have them going 11-6 next year.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I understand that I was frustrated with the draft. Like, we drafted like 3 linemen and only like 1 receiver when we were in desperate need of like more than that. But here's the thing. If my running game for my team can get going with this new line, I'll be happy. I'll be content with what we did.
Because your ground game is already good.
Yeah. We need Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren to go absolutely nuts with this line. If they don't, then it's them that are the issue. Because we have some of the best. We had probably one of the best lines now after that draft. So I'll be upset if we don't, keep that going. So yeah. Now, here's the first team where I actually have a Super Bowl probability that's not 0%. It's 10%.
Okay.
It's a very slim one. It's the smallest one. But yes, it is technically the smallest percentage of actual, points. So I don't think the Steelers are going to make it, but I think they have a better chance than like all the other teams we've listed so far.
Okay.
Next up, number 13. This one will be a little controversial for some people. The Buffalo Bills. I have them. First off, they had an 11-6 record last year. They won their division, got the 2 seed. Choked to the Chiefs. The usual year stuff. And here's the thing: they lost their top 2 receivers. They lost probably about a third of their defense. Their draft is literally they traded down. They get some Roby Coleman or something like that, junior, some guy.
They kind of a wide receiver or a corner.
Yeah, there was a wide receiver first pick, I think it was. They finally picked. They traded down twice and got that guy, which is solid. But they gave up Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs, who was the fastest receiver ever recorded in history, even faster than Tyreek Hill.
Wait, what?
Yes, Tyreek Hill is no longer the fastest player in the NFL. It's now Xavier Worthy.
And now the Chiefs have him.
Yes.
Great.
The Bills. What is wrong with you guys? Why would you do that? I don't know. It just bothers me. I really, really, really hope that you guys don't suck next year. But I just have a feeling you guys are going to either be the same or drop. And I could have had you guys even lower in this list. But since you guys had Josh Allen, I couldn't help but keep you guys up here. Now, what's the Super Bowl probability for you guys? I'm gonna say 15%. Like barely there. Like they're probably gonna choke in the divisional round again, like the Cowboys do. So we'll see what happens.
Anyways, my number 13. This could be controversial for you because you have them very low. Cleveland Browns, 11-6 record from last year. Mm-hmm. Yes, they did have a bad all season with the free agency and a little maybe the draft. The draft was decent, but the problem was the reason why I don't have them in the top 10. It's because their offense is like they say around Deshaun Watson wasn't the greatest because a lot of their quarterbacks got hurt, but their defense is freaking insane, and it still is. Like as long as they don't get hurt on defense, that's what keeps them together. Their defensive is what holds them together, and I think they're gonna have either a 10-7 or 11-6. And for me, my number 12 was your number was actually not your number 13. It was your 14. Pretty sure it was the Miami Dolphins.
They were my 15, but it was close enough. They're kind of just there.
And Miami Dolphins at number 12 at 11-6 last year. Same. Again, they didn't lose much. They lost like a few people in defense and free agency. They also got a bunch of people in free agency to cover up for that as well. And on offense, it didn't really change much. But in the draft, it was okay. They got some good players in the draft. And I think, honestly, them seeing going either 9-8 or 10-7. I think I see them dropping just a tad.
Yeah, I understand that. So now, if you thought that having the Buffalo Bills down at 13 or the Commanders at 16 was controversial, take a look at this one. Number 12, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Care to explain, sir?
Yes. So, they had a 8-9 record last year. And remember, most of those losses that they took last year was because they had a terrible Josh McDaniels coach. And the only reason he got fired is because the Lions, I believe, blew them out really bad in one of the worst coached games ever. Other than the Raiders, beating up the Chargers with a 63-point win. But, which helped their team out with Brand Staley. Which was funny last year. So the Raiders, they improved tremendously with defense. Because obviously they got Max Crosby on that team, but now they have Christian Wilkins on the same line, who had about 10 or 12, 11 sacks last year. So that Raiders D-line is going to be ferocious. The new coach is going to be great. I think they're going to make the playoffs pretty easily. I think they're going to be like either 11-6 or maybe even 12-5 if they get lucky.
Or maybe have a chance to
upset the Chiefs, maybe even. It's going to be a fun next season for them. Now, what's their probability getting the Super Bowl? I'm just going to say probably the same as Buffalo, 15%. Because they're still kind of building, and they have a second-year coach. I don't think they're going to get that much farther than that. So, yeah. Now, number 11, I got the Dallas Cowboys. And like you said earlier, they had a terrible draft. Other than, I guess they had a couple okay picks. And then they had an awful free agency, only picking up 2 players.
What's going on in, Jerry?
I know. And okay, so last year their record was 12-5, and then they choked to the Packers in the first round of the playoffs in a major blowout loss.
Which I really like that.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. But what's going to happen with the Cowboys here? Not much. If anything, they're going to drop. But they're either going to drop or they're going to stay the same. Now, what's their Super Bowl probability? 0%. Cowboys, stop saying this is your year. You know it's not going to be. You say it every year and it's never going to be. So just stop. Stop. It's 0%. You're not getting there. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how good your team looks. You're never getting there.
Anyways, my number 11 is the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they lost 2 of their best wide receivers, but they also, like I said, they also drafted a wide receiver as well. A good one, too, but not as good as the one that the Chiefs got, but they still got a decent wide receiver. They lost a couple things on defense, but they also patched that up in free agency and the draft as well. Honestly, since you're right, since Josh Allen is there and he keeps that team all together, I have them probably either dropping a game or staying the same.
All right.
And number 10, this might be a shocker to people, but it's probably not. The New York Jets.
Ooh, now, let's go.
like I said, they're one of the only teams on my top 10 that have a losing record from last year. They had a 7-10 record last year, but they're going to majorly improve. Easily, they could easily become a complete opposite of the loss and wins. They can become a 10-7 team and potentially a playoff team because they had a great free agency, they had a great draft, and I think they can. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they'll be good. They'll be like playoff potential.
Yep.
Wild card, not maybe possibly division winner, but mostly it's going to be a wild card.
Yeah. My number 10 is the same, the New York Jets. Yeah, like you said, they had a 7-10 record last year, and yeah, like if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, which they did draft like 2 linemen at least to help protect that line. Plus, they got Tyron Smith from free agency from the Cowboys, and he was one of the best linemen that they had. So if Aaron Rodgers can't stay healthy with that new line, he just doesn't have to be on that team at that point. But I do hope that Aaron Rodgers pops off next season. I really hope that the Jets can maybe even beat the Chiefs in the playoffs or have fun with that, like if Aaron Rodgers can go and have that, it'd be so fun to see that.
That'd be a fun game. Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that'd be a fun game. So number 9, you got the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
So last year they ended the season with a 10-7 record. And to be honest, they're going to probably be the same or better. Their offense is going to pop off. I think Matthew Stafford is going to have like so many passing yards. It's not funny. It's Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are just they're like 2 best receivers in the league probably right now, and it's going to be just so fun watching that team.
Anyway,
yeah. What's your number 9, dude?
Well, the same as the Los Angeles Rams. Again, similar to what he said. They had he mentioned this. Yeah, they had a great draft and free agency. It definitely helped them out, but it didn't help that the Aaron Donald retired, but they already made up for that.
Oh, yeah,
they already got a D-tackle in the draft. So, as you were saying, yeah, they're a good team offensively. Like, that's a good wide-out duo. So, and I think they're going to be probably 11-6.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
And my number 8, I have the Green Bay Packers. Now, anyways, as we were saying earlier, they have a 9-8 record. They made it all the way to the divisional round of the playoffs, but lost. But like I said, they started the season terribly last year, but they lighted it up then. Like they had a decent free agency and draft. Like they patched up the holes they needed to do. And I think they're going to be better than 9-8. I think they're going to be like 11-6, honestly, because how good they are.
Easily, yeah. By the way, I forgot to give you my probabilities Super Bowl wise for the Jets and the Rams on my last 2. So for the Jets, I had a 25% chance, and the Rams have a 45% chance of getting to the playoffs.
Okay.
Or the Super Bowl. Now, for my number 8, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They ended their season 9-8, but here's the thing. They had a winning record, and they were Joe Burrow-less for the second half of that season.
Okay.
So, with Joe Burrow coming back, and with them upgrading their line more and everything, and he should be able to stay healthy, and not only he should be able to stay healthy, I think they'll probably end up winning their division next year again.
Probably another tight
battle between them and Baltimore, probably. Maybe Pittsburgh can get involved. It's gonna be a fun division next year, my division, and I think they're gonna be at least 12-5, at least for them. Now the Super Bowl probability, I have a solid 70% chance.
If Burrow stays healthy,
if Joe Burrow stays healthy, they have a 70% chance of going to the Super Bowl again.
Okay, what do you got for your number 7?
I have I believe your number 8 was, which was the Green Bay Packers. Like he said, they ended the season 9-8. Their second half of the season was tremendous. Jordan Love popped off in that second half. Here's the thing. With that, I'm so hoping that the Packers do kind of go crazy next year because it's been so fun to watch Jordan Love play, and he's going to be in one of the hardest divisions in football now with the Vikings, Bears, and Lions to worry about. So if he's able to compete with all those teams, remember the Packers are the Bears' kryptonite, and also the Packers can usually beat the Vikings at least once.
There's the problem,
and then the Lions too. So Yeah. It's going to be a very interesting season for the Packers. I have them going about 11-6 as well. Probably being the 5 seed or something in the NFC. So it's going to be a very fun year for them.
Yeah, like I said, now for my number 7, my number 1 through number 7 was hard to pick because these were all awesome teams.
Yes.
I have the Baltimore Ravens at number 7.
Ooh.
Yes, they had the best record in the NFL last year. Yes, they patched things up, but they're also playing in a very hard division as well.
That's also true.
Because the Steelers are known to really put the beat down on Baltimore. They know how to be a kryptonite twice. And also, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, they got to deal with the Bengals. So, honestly, I have them rather either go 11-6 or 12-5. But it'd still be a probably tiebreaker win. And for my number 6, this is also a shocker. It's another powerhouse in the NFC, the 49ers. They had a 12-5 record last year. And honestly, I don't know why they did this in the NFL draft. They drafted a wide receiver. And they already have 2 good wide receivers as is. So it depends on free agency to both of them. But why would you draft a wide receiver when you have 2 good ones already? Maybe they wanted a wideout 3, I guess? They already did patch up their holes in free agency, but I honestly think they're either go 11-6 or 12-5 as well.
All right. So for me, my number 6 is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Care to explain, sir?
Yes. So you guys ended the season with an 11-6 record. And
completely choking.
Yeah, we started off the first half of that season being 10-1.
I know.
And then you finished 1-5 in the last 6.
Don't remind me, please.
So you guys ended up being 11-6, the 5 seed, choking to the Buccaneers. But here's the thing: you guys had probably one of the best free agencies and one of the best drafts out of this year. So if they are true potential people when they come in and they play with you guys.
With the new OC and DC.
Yeah, with the new coordinators on both sides. You guys, I think, are going to be much better next year. I think you guys have a chance to even be the 1 seed again.
That'd be nice.
But the only reason I have you guys lower is because how your last season ended, and we just don't know if these guys are going to be as good as we are hoping they are. That's the only reason. Now, for the top 5 to begin. By the way, the Eagles and the Packers had about 50% chance each for a Super Bowl show.
Okay. Seems more reasonable.
Yeah. So anyway, number 5, I have the San Francisco 49ers. We know how they ended the season 12-5. They got to the Super Bowl, choked to the Chiefs like usual. And yeah, to be honest, they didn't really deserve to be there. After how we saw how they did play to the Chiefs and choking to them, I'm like, to be honest, they didn't deserve to be there. I think the Lions would have been a much better threat to the Chiefs if that was what Super Bowl was. But we had them in Super Bowl anyway. So, yeah, they picked up a receiver. Not sure if they're going to trade Ayuk or Debo or not. If they do, that's probably why they picked him up. If they don't, then he's just there for wide receiver 3. So, how about you, man?
For my number 5, I have the Detroit Lions. Number 5, 12-5 record last year. Great season, entire way through. And they picked up some really good things in the draft. Like they picked up a super good corner in the draft, I'm pretty sure. It was our wide receiver. They had a decent free agency. I didn't hear they needed to do much. But obviously, I think they're going to be just as good as last year. Maybe probably the same thing in 12-5. Like I said, that division is tightly packed, that NFC North division.
Yeah.
And my number 4, I have my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, like you were saying earlier, they choked the last 5 or 6 games, including the one playoff game. But like you said before, they had an amazing draft. Had an amazing free agency. They patched up all the holes we needed to fill in. The only thing that, for me, it's why they're not in the top 3 I have, is because it depends how they play next year in OC and DC. Brand new ones, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yep. My number 4 is the Baltimore Ravens. They ended their season with 13-4. I think they're going to drop a game and make it 12-5 next year. But remember, they are in the toughest division in football, with the Steelers, the Bengals, and if the Browns don't suck as bad as I think they're going to suck, even them. So it's going to be a very difficult division for them. If they want to win it, they're going to have to go through both my team and the Bengals to do it. It's not going to be easy, but we'll see what happens. Like what we saw said earlier, they got the Derrick Henry. They lost their other 2 running backs, but they got Henry, so that's pretty good. They lost Patrick Queen to the Steelers. They gained some players. So, like, they had a decent offseason for the most part. It wasn't, like, bad or it wasn't good either. It was just kind of in the middle of the pack. So, my Super Bowl probability for them is a 60% chance.
Okay, so it dropped a little bit.
Yeah. I think the Bengals have a better percent chance, even though I have them lower on this list. So, yeah. Next up, my number 3. And this is the team I think is the best of the NFC, the Detroit Lions. So they ended their season last year with a 12-5 record. They had the 3 seed, and yeah, they picked up 2 solid corners in the first 2 rounds of the draft. Their free agency, like they didn't do too much in free agency, but they didn't have to do too much in free agency
because the team was already good.
Yeah, so Detroit's a solid team. If Jared Goff can pop off like he did this year, then they're going to be they're going to be hard to beat by any team. And if they can get home field advantage, no one's going to want to go to Ford Field to play the Detroit Lions in January. My Super Bowl probability for them is a solid 85%, and I think to be honest, I think they're my Super Bowl favorite for the NFC next year.
Okay. So, my number 3, I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh.
Now.
There we go.
Here's what I think about Cincinnati. All depends. They had a good free agency and draft. They didn't need to do much in free. Well, they actually did do a decent amount. But here's the thing. If Burrow stays healthy, it could be a threat even to the team I'm about to mention here in a sec. And I think they have potential to be the 1 seed. Because they're that good. Like, they still have plenty of weapons on offense and all that. And their defense, they patched things up because their defense was still sketchy for most things. But I think they fixed that in free agency in the draft. And I have them going probably 12-5 or potentially 13-4. Now, for my number 2, as I mentioned before, a threat to the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2. Now, obviously, we all know why. They were Super Bowl champs last year. We all know that. And I think, obviously, the Chiefs didn't really need to do much either way. Obviously, they got some things in the draft, like the speedy wide receiver.
Yep.
And they honestly didn't do much of free agency, but they didn't need to. So, but I also have them at a tiebreaker 13-4 with the Cincinnati Bengals, with the tiebreaker.
All right. So my number 2 is the Houston Texans. And if you want to talk about a team that upgraded in both draft and free agency, you got the Houston Texans. They went absolutely crazy. CJ Stroud, I think, is going to be probably an MVP next year. They did end the season with a 10-7 record on his rookie season. And with a bunch of receivers that, to be honest, I can't remember the names of half of them. But it's like, he is such a good player. And it's going to be fun to have guys like Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon and all those big players to go along with him. I think they're going to probably be the number 1 seed or the 2 seed of the AFC. Like one of the top 2 seeds. And either be a 13-4 record, or even if I hope they get lucky, a 14-3 record even. I think they're going to be so hard to beat this next season. But coming in at number 1, because everybody knows that all this is for nothing, the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to three-peat. The end of their season, 11-6, got the 3 seed, upset Buffalo and Baltimore, and then beat the 49ers with like pretty much no receivers whatsoever.
Because it's Patrick Mahomes.
And he just does whatever he wants. What's the chance for them to make the Super Bowl? About 95%, almost 100. I just don't see any team other than maybe like teams that I've mentioned before, like Houston, maybe the Bengals, or one like pretty much, or the Jets. Those 3 teams are the only teams in the AFC that I could see maybe posing a threat to Chiefs getting to a 3-peat. So what's yours?
I have what your number 2 was. I have the Houston Texans.
That's number 1.
Yes, I do.
All right.
And what I said earlier about the Bengals and Chiefs having a threat for the 1 seed, Houston Texans have a threat too. Like, holy crap, as you said before, their draft and their free agency were amazing. Like, you cannot get it any better. And obviously they added 10-7 last year, but they'll be a major upgrade. And like so, I honestly think other than the Bengals and the Chiefs, maybe threat for the 1 seed, the Texans can be 2. Either 12-5 or 13-4 as well. Like you're right, they're gonna be hard to stop.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like there's our top. There's all our 32 teams ranked from worst to best. Some of them are kind of obvious. Other ones are definitely risk takers on our end. If you guys have any like of your own list that you want to share, if you think that we're stupid on some of these, and you want to comment saying like what your list is, just go right on ahead. The comments are below. And remember, this is also our opinion, so do not be a baby.
And please like and subscribe to the video. Watch some of our videos as well.
Yeah, that subscribe button will be right down there, even though you can't necessarily click it because it's just a picture. So, but yeah, I'm hoping you guys are like excited for next year's season. I'm so happy this draft went the way it did for the most part. It was a really fun draft. And this is Elijah.
And this is Luke.
And we are the Eagles of Steel. Bye.